Serial killers that are still on the loose. According to the FBI, there could be up to 50 active serial killers in the United States right now. That's literally one serial killer for every state in the United States. For this year's Halloween special, I knew I wanted to talk about serial killers, but I also knew I wanted to make it extra creepy, which is why I wanted to discuss not serial killers who we all know and have been put to jail or put to death. I wanted to discuss serial killers that are currently active or still on the loose to this day. Being on the loose and being active are two different things, which is why this video is a bit of a double feature. I'm going to start by going through every serial killer who is still walking among us, and then I'm going to build up to not only serial killers who are on the loose, but are also on the loose and active to this very day. So without further ado, let's talk about killers that could technically kill you. The I-70 killer. The year is 1992. You are the manager working at a local shoe store and you've just began your shift. Today was like any other day. You were alone in the store and the store was quiet. That was until one peculiar-looking man walked in. He enters the store looking directly at you and doesn't say much, although he asks you if you could find something for him in the back. You oblige and walk in the back only to realize you've been followed. And before you can understand what's going on, you hear the click of a gun and your life flashes. Unfortunately, that is a real story of one of the victims of the I-70 killer. And this victim was one of many. The I-70 killer is named after the I-70 highway because every single one of the murders attributed to him has taken place only a few miles off of the highway. For those unfamiliar, the I-70 highway is one of the longest interstates or highways in the entire United States and runs from Utah to Maryland. That alone is an interesting fact we'll get into later, but more on the killer himself. It's believed that the I-70 killer was most active from 92 until 94. Although murders as recently as 2001 have also been attributed to him, very little is known about the I-70 killer, and every murder that is associated with him is because of the extremely consistent methodology this man used. Almost every victim of the I-70 killer follows the same criteria. The victim was a woman working alone in a retail location only a few miles off the I-70 highway and was nearly clinically executed with a .22 bullet to the back of the head. Now, interestingly, all of the murders attributed to the I-70 killer showed little to no signs of assault or robbery after the murder took place, meaning that this killer likely killed simply for the satisfaction of killing, which is just more evidence in case you weren't convinced that this person was twisted already. Now, it's important to note that there are a few murders from the I-70 killer that are a bit unorthodox. Specifically, a few murders that involved male victims as well as a situation where two people were murdered at the same time, which was the first and only time that happened. And it's theorized by authorities that the I-70 killer believed one of the employees was alone, when in reality the employee and store owner were both present at the location, and the I-70 killer decided to kill both of these people. As of today, there's believed to be anywhere from 6 to over 9 killings attributed to the I-70 killer. And interestingly, with these murders taking place relatively recently and the sheer volume of murders that took place, there is quite a bit of evidence and information taking place. But interestingly, even with technology that existed at the time, which was only the early 90s, and the technology that exists today, which is way more advanced, there is still absolutely no clue as to who the I-70 killer could be. And all we have are a few artist depictions based off of a few eyewitness accounts. My mind is still a bit blown that with over 6 active crime scenes that have all been extremely consistent in a relatively modern time period, we still have no real information, and it doesn't look like we're ever going to get any anytime soon. And for people who claim to have seen the I-70 killer, they said that they saw a skinny white man, roughly 5'7" to 59 in their 20s to 30s at the time.